Hey everybody, we're going to dig into American Express. Before we do, please click subscribe if you don't already subscribe to my channel, and please check out the message you see on your screen from our sponsor, The Motley Fool. Checking that out can get you the top 10 stocks to buy right now and is the best way to support this work we do. So Amex's second quarter numbers look pretty great, but before we get into that, it's worth mentioning why the stock hasn't been the best performer over the past year or so. There are two big things kind of holding Amex back. One is that Amex is a credit card issuer, as it's most widely known for, and most economists are projecting a recession. Recessions generally lead to people not being able to pay their bills because of higher unemployment rates and things like that. And credit card issuers, especially, can see loan losses spike higher. So that's number one. Number two, a lot of people don't realize this part that American Express is technically a bank, and its size puts it into that regional banking category. And we all know what happened in the regional banking space a few months ago. Those headwinds have kind of dissipated a little bit, but there's still a lingering fear surrounding regional banks and what could happen if something goes wrong in the economy. So those two things have kind of concerned investors with Amex, but its recent numbers show that there might not be that much to worry about. So in the second quarter, Amex's revenue grew 12% year over year, and the payment volume on its network was up by 9%. It made most of that increase in revenue wasn't due to higher payment volume necessarily. There are two parts of Amex's business that are particularly strong right now. One is card fees, the membership fees you pay on your card. Amex has done a great job of boosting the value of its high end and meaning high fee credit card products over the past few years. So card fee income was up 21% year over year in the second quarter. And more importantly, net interest income was up 32%. Rising interest rates directly affect credit cards. Whenever the Fed raises rates, credit card interest rates are directly tied to that. So if the Fed raises rates by 25 basis points, Amex's credit card interest rates rise by a corresponding amount. This has resulted in higher net interest income. Amex has been a big beneficiary of rising interest rates. Put all that together, and earnings is up by double digits year over year, 12% year over year. Not too bad when you consider that most economists were projecting that defaults would have spiked way higher by now. We'll get to the default rates in just a minute, but just to kind of look a little deeper into that, I mentioned payment volume was up 9%. That's kind of a little bit different depending on where you're looking. Consumer spending was up 10%. Commercial spending, meaning companies spending things on like Amex business cards, was up just 2%. So we're seeing signs that companies might be pumping the brakes on spending in anticipation of a recession. And international spend was up 17% year over year, the strongest part of the business. So if we look at Amex's credit quality, the 30-day past due rate is at 1.2%, which is significantly higher than it was a year ago. But the pre-pandemic average was 1.5%. So this looks more like a reversion to norms because remember, during the COVID era, banks were more willing to suspend payment obligations if borrowers couldn't afford to make their payments and things like that. Now we're getting back toward a more normal environment. Amex's write-off rate is at 1.8%, which, when you consider it was 0.8% last year, sounds kind of alarming until you realize that we're just kind of normalizing back toward pre-pandemic averages. This is still well below the 2.2% pre-pandemic average. Not only that, with a 1.8% write-off rate, Amex has 3.7% of its total loan portfolio sitting in reserves just in case things go badly. So there's a lot more wiggle room if default rates were to spike higher. And as of now, we're not seeing anything that's getting into the alarming levels just yet. And if we do hit a soft landing, as the Federal Reserve thinks we can, and as the evidence really is starting to point to, Amex could be a big winner. It gets the benefits of higher interest rates, and if we can avoid a deep recession, it gets the benefit of avoiding a spike in defaults that would kind of offset the interest benefits. So Amex could be a pretty big winner over the next year or so. I own it in my portfolio. I'm holding on to it. I think at 14 times forward earnings, it looks like a very attractive stock. I may buy some more of it. And I'd love to hear what you think. Please leave me any comments. I'll do my best to address them all individually. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to click subscribe if you don't subscribe to my channel already. And as always, this video is sponsored by The Motley Fool. Be sure to visit www.fool.com/Frankel to receive the top 10 best stocks to buy now.